Good afternoon, I'm Bruce Forsyth and welcome back to Tyrrell time. Nice to see you. Nah, fuck you guys. It's the start of the 2005 season, brand new season means much to discuss. Let's see if there's any news. Oh, there is. Damon Hill plans to retire at the end of the season. Also, the amount of money we receive from Formula One has been confirmed for the coming year. Good news is, obviously, we are the current reigning Constructors World Champions, which means our budgets should receive a commensurate raise over the course of the year. Gustav Brunner and Osamu Goto and I believe Ian Phillips, although I could be wrong, remain with the team. But Ainsley Cowlinshaw here, as a new chief mechanic, stepped down on the chief mechanic we had last year, but again, nothing to be too deeply concerned about. On the driver front, Carl Eisen and Dario Laureti are on the final year of their current deal. Obviously, we know Shinji Nakano has improved massively as he is the reigning Drivers' World Champion. Doesn't Carl Eisen look a little bit like a young Nico Hülkenberg? I've never noticed that before. Anyway, we have to make a decision over the course of this season if we want to retain Laureti and the $10 million he pumps into the team, if we want to give Carl Eisen a promotion, or let's take a look who's on the market. We could tempt back Hiroshi Tanaka and go for the all Japanese flavour again, because we lost Tanaka by mistake, as I recall. Toru Takagi is also a possibility. Well, actually, do you know what? I am going to bring back Toru Takagi. This was always supposed to be a Japanese playthrough, wasn't it? He's not as good as Nakano. So I think a number 2 drive is fine. He's number 2 at Ferrari. We will give him a cheeky bonus, though. And we'll give him a 3-season deal. See what he says. Hey. Buff. Let's see if we can't get Hiroshi Tanaka back as well. Go all in. He doesn't want to be a test driver. Well, that's fine. Okay, well, that rounded itself out rather quickly. I was going to put it out to you guys, but I'm glad we moved quickly to bring Takagi back. I mean, he is definitely better than Laureti. It's only a 2 million dent in our budget, and Laureti didn't have an amazing season last year. He's got a race drive for 2 years, which is 2 more than he often gets in this game, so I'm quite happy with that. We've had 9 people leave the commercial department over the break, so we're going to immediately begin bolstering our numbers again. We lost 3 in construction, so let's rehire those. And in terms of our mechanics, we are full. No one left because our mechanics are hardcore. Okay, now generally standard operating procedure at this point is to take a look up and down the grid, and that is what we shall do. So, first of all, how about we look at who's driving where? Let's go back. So, starting at Arrows, David Coulthard and Olivier Panis continue in joint number 1 roles with Giancarlo Fisichella as their test driver. That's a very, very strong lineup. Although, I believe Coulthard was there last season as well and had a very anonymous season. The whole performance of the team was driven by Panis, who had a really, really good season, actually. I'm curious to see where they lie. I don't know who's powering them this year, but that's something we need to look into. Down at Benetton, Hiroshi Tanaka in his last season alongside Esteban Tuero with Juan Montoya as their test driver. Benetton didn't have a good year last year, languished down at the bottom of the field, as I recall, amongst the Saubers and the Prosts and the Minardis. Ferrari, Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Toru Takagi. Takagi was at Jordan last year, so clearly he moved to Ferrari on a 1-season number 2 driver deal. Luca Badoa is their test driver, so a season at Ferrari won't do his prospects for us next year any harm. I'm sure he'll gain some skill points over the course of the year. That means Jordan are fielding Ralf Schumacher and Johnny Newhouse. Now, Johnny Newhouse was swapped essentially with Toru Takagi, but he got a 2-season number 2 driver deal at Jordan. A fairly strong combination, to be honest. Jan Magnussen is their test driver. Down at McLaren, Damon Hill and John Fellows is a clear number 1, number 2 driver split with Mika Salo as their test driver. No change at Minardi, it's Alessandro Marini and Riccardo Rosset teaming up joint number 1s with Ricardo Zonta as their test driver. Likewise, at Prost, all French lineup continues. Stefan Sarrazin and Jarno Trulli equal number 1s. Jörg Muller is their test driver. No change at Sauber either. Rubens Barrichello continues to lead the team. Emmanuel Collard in the second driver role, with Johnny Herbert somehow agreeing to be their test driver. Meanwhile, Pedro Diniz has left Jordan to join Stewart. He is equal number 1 driver with Laurent Redon, with Celso Moriera as their test driver. And no change in our team, of course. Nakano still leads Laureti with Carl Eisen as our test driver. No change either down at Williams. Mika Hakkinen, number 1 driver, alongside Alexander Wurz. Andrea Montemini is their test driver. Anyone interesting on the driver market? Eddie Irvine, currently without a seat. Michael Schumacher and John Lacey are both retired. So, let's take a look, shall we, at the engines. Now, obviously, partner deal, we reset every year. Currently, it's a quite light engine. It's pretty thrifty on the old fuel. Handles heat pretty well, but the power is way down. The responsiveness and rigidity are not good, and of course the reliability needs some work too. So we'll be doing a lot of engine testing out of the gate. Meanwhile, the Bridgestone tyres seem to be the ones to be on. The hard tyres need some work on rigidity, but the softs are actually in a pretty good position already. The intermediates need some love, and the wets are horrible. So we know where the bulk of our tyre testing is going to be. Likewise, on the fuel, Shell have produced an awful fuel this year. That really doesn't look good to me at all, but fortunately we are in control of the whole process, so we will see what's what. Let's then see what is powering everybody else, shall we? Okay, in terms of team sponsors, Easter with Jordan, Murano with Sauber, Winfrieder with Arrows, Playlife with Ferrari, Blondes are with us till 2007, Buzzing Hornets with McLaren, and Red Bull are backing Prost. That's not hugely vital information, I'm just putting it in there for the sake of completeness. The key thing here though is power units. Let me take a sip of Dr. Pepper. Oh, that is a refreshing beverage. So, Mercedes-Benz, 2 works partners this year in the form of McLaren and Jordan. That's a big deal for Jordan, of course. Those contracts looking fairly solid, given that Mercedes have maxed out both bars again. Prost receiving a partner power unit. Ferrari, meanwhile, has works deals in place with Stewart and Arrows, so Arrows looking pretty good coming into the season. Ironically, Ferrari are powered by Ford on a works deal, with Williams taking a partner alongside Benetton. Peugeot, however, works deal for Sauber. Mugen-Honda are obviously powering ourselves, with Minardi taking a Mechachrome customer deal. So let's take a look at the units everyone's produced for this year. So the most powerful engine on the grid in terms of raw horsepower this year is actually the Peugeot. So Sauber are going to have a clear straight line speed advantage, but of course they languished down the bottom of the field last year. I don't think that's going to be enough to really lift their fortunes too much. The best overall power unit, to my mind, is probably the Mercedes-Benz. Although it's not particularly hot on rigidity, that could cause some reliability problems, and the reliability of the unit itself isn't fantastic. Likewise, Ferrari really struggling with responsiveness and reliability this year. Ford, meanwhile, down on power. It's quite a thirsty unit. The Peugeot engine looks really good. The only problem is that it gulps fuel like no tomorrow, but that and the rigidity are not great. It's slightly heavier than the comparable power units, but the power should more than make up for that deficit. The Mugen-Honda, by comparison, doesn't actually look too bad. We're just down on power and reliability, but the other fundamentals of the unit are actually pretty solid as a starting block. Mechachrome actually looks like a great engine this year. That Minardi customer deal could actually really work for them. Of course, they're not going to receive any guaranteed updates over the course of the year. This very well may be the specification of engine they finish the year with. Mechachrome, of course, being essentially the 1996 Renault units that powered Williams to the World Championship. Mechachrome taking over control and development and supply of those engines for a few years following Renault's departure. In my experience, you're more likely to get an upgraded unit from Hart than you are from Mechachrome. However, I guess time will tell. But certainly I'd say the Peugeot and Mercedes powered guys are in a good position, and actually so are Minardi with a very, very solid unit coming out of Mechachrome. In terms of tyres, I'd say the Goodyears are actually more balanced overall, but I think Bridgestones are the tyres to have. It's just that the rain tyre is absolutely shocking, but that's not something we can't develop our way out of. In terms of tyre split, by the way, Goodyear have a work supply with Sauber and McLaren, a customer deal with Stewart, and a partner deal with Minardi and Prost. Meanwhile, Bridgestone partners with Jordan and Arrows, works deal with Ferrari and ourselves. Williams have a customer supply, as do Benetton, so that could actually hamper Williams a little bit. Arrows benefiting from a partner deal there. Fuel. Okay. First of all, let's take a look at what's what. So, if I was going to pick a fuel based on starting statistics, I'd probably go... Repsol, but they only provide a customer supply, and of course you're probably not going to get an upgrade over the course of the season. Agip again, great on power. Elf, great on engine tolerance. Petrobras actually producing the highest octane fuel this season, but horrible engine tolerance, so you know the trade-off is very real there. Ourselves and Mobil, the only work suppliers, 4 in each box, so it doesn't, neither fuel excels in any particular area, but it does come with financial backing if you get the works deal. Texaco, up on power but down on engine tolerance, and Total looks pretty good. If you want the inverse value proposition to Repsol, then you can always favour engine tolerance and reliability over raw power, in which case Total would be the one to have. Shell works deals with ourselves and McLaren. Mobil are providing work supplies to Jordan, a partner supply to Prost. Texaco have Sauber as a customer and Minardi as a partner. Agip, great on power, of course. They're providing Stewart. Total supplying Arrows, so strong reliability benefit for Arrows and Williams as partners. And Elf have a partnership with Ferrari and a customer supply to Benetton. Lovely. Right, we need an engine and we need fuel. The engine I'm not too concerned about because the rules of the playthrough mean Mugen-Honda. So I'm going to put 20% on that, get it sorted. I'm going to try though and get back on board more Asian and Japanese sponsors, because that was the aim of the playthrough as well. So I'm going to put 25% on HSBC and 25% or 20% maybe on PlayStation. Akai we also want. Put 15% on that. And is there anyone? Oh, Korean Air we also want. And I'll put 15% on that. And then I don't really care about putting much into hospitality at the moment. But we will invite Honda, Shell, and Korean Air, I think. And you know what? We'll lay on some fancy stuff. I'll improve our VIP hospitality later on. For now, I just want to get some deals in motion, see what's what. You'll note that I haven't immediately gone after the Works fuel deal. Out of all the Works deals you can get, that's the one that generally pays the least and has the least benefit, and will actually make more money off sponsors in this case. So yeah, not too concerned about that. Investment in the factory, that isn't going to be happening, but we do have a fully upgraded CAD, CAM, supercomputer and testing rig systems. Okay, so we've staffed our staff. Is there anyone who's... Yeah, Gustav Brunner. We need to extend his contract if we can. Okay, wants a bigger bonus, we can do that. As for Ian Phillips, Rob Armstrong will take 2%. So I'll pump him up to 3 and it's still half what we're having to pay this dude. Okay, we can maybe stretch to 4. Osama Goto and Mark Cowenshaw are under contract, so everything's good there. And our driver situation is pretty well sorted, at least the important parts. So, testing. Testing. Very, very important. We're going to do a lot of testing. As much as we can afford. A lot of mechanics. Might have to run with some wear on the car at this rate, but to be honest, I don't really care. See what we've got. Excellent. Okay, so step 1. Suspension reliability, I think that's important. Got a driver aid under construction, that's nice. I'm going to drop that down to 30%. And we're going to immediately start on next year's. Oh no, we can't. Why can't we do that? No, we can. Because I already pressed the button, that's why. Okay, so that's all looking good. We've got maximum number of spare parts. That's also good. Let's get the wear off these cars then. And we can hit the road jack. So, clear number 1 and number 2 driver rules. We're going to obviously have Nakano be more aggressive than Laureti at this point. Excellent. In terms of setup, there'll be no favoritism at the start of the season. It's just not worth it. So I'm going to distribute points evenly. Nice. Obviously all the driver aids are going on, and we will run Nakano on the hard tyre and Laureti on the soft. Because I think he can run longer with less chance of an issue or a mistake. Okay, off to Australia we go for round 1. Let's see where the lay of the land is. 21 degrees, very dry. So it's quite a cool first session in Australia, cooler than you would normally expect to see, actually. I'm expecting Nakano to suffer from a slight pace deficit due to the hard compound tyres. But someone got pole position. And it was Dario Laureti. He sits P1, a 1:30.287 ahead of the arrows of Olivier Panis, who comes out the gate strong once again. Mika Hakkinen, P3 for Williams, 1:33.15. It's very, very tight at the top, isn't it? Look at that. David Coulthard, P4 for Arrows. Then we've got Wirtz, Schumacher, the two Benettons of Tanaka and Tyrrell, who have taken a huge jump year on year. Sort of Sauber actually qualifying 13th and 14th from back of the grid last season. McLaren meanwhile languishing down in 15th and 16th ahead of the Stewarts, the Minardis and the Prosts, bringing up the rear. Nakano only good enough for 9th, but I think we've got a car that should be able to get him up onto the podium. That's a more Australian-y temperature for the Grand Prix itself, 27 degrees. That should also help Nakano get his tyres up to temperature. And he will come in lap 29. Okay, boys. Shinji Nakano brings it home P1 from P9 on the grid, 1:32.27.57. Johnny Newhouse, P2 for Jordan, ahead of the arrows of David Coulthard, who overtakes his teammate Olivier Panis for P3. Panis coming home P4. Mika Hakkinen drops to 5th over the course of the Grand Prix, but both Williams and both arrows making it into the points. Alexander Wirtz taking the final points paying position. Dario Laureti fails to finish due to engine failure, not surprising. So that means we definitely have some repairs to do. Let's first of all see what's on the table from some of these sponsor types. I'm going to play the success advantage immediately to get this Mugen-Honda deal tied up. Okay, so for HSBC we have 2 million on the table for one season. One season 2.1 million with PlayStation and 1.9 million one season with Akai. What's going on with Korean Air? 1.7 million for one season. Okay, let's try and... PlayStation's got the most money, so let's try and get those on board. We will drop Shell for now in favour of PlayStation are going somewhere else. So we'll take HSBC to the next Grand Prix. That rhymes, wasn't that good? Right, in terms of design, got some good progress on the go already. We also have some of this stuff going on, and I didn't spend my engine development points. What a twat. So I'm going to drop some fuel economy and heat tolerance for that. That'll do. In terms of tyres, we know what we have to do here. We really need to get the wet tyres up to snuff. And for fuel, let's get some more power. It was very stupid of me. I apologise. In terms of technology, we have a suspension upgrade ready to rock. Let's build that straight away. And we made a very, very healthy profit thanks to the prize money we pulled in last year. Another suspension upgrade. And what we really want to do is tackle some more testing. No more engine testing because obviously we have very limited input. We can already get an upgrade package underway for next season's car. that's what we are definitely going to do. I'm going to give up on the driver aids for now. We already have an 80% handling score, so I mean this is a really, really good car out of the gate. I don't think we've had one that high before. Spend our development points here to give everything a cheeky little boost. Let's see if... Oh nice, we can finally get level 3 servo brakes onto the cars. We're definitely going to be doing that. Okay, next job, we have obviously some repairs to car 2 to complete, and there's a lot of wear on our machinery. Shinji Nakano's car got a real battering. Thankfully our mechanics are super hardcore, and even though we spent a load on testing, they just get the job done every time. I'll rebuild our stock of spare parts. Always good to have on hand. And hopefully, even though we've got no new components for the next Grand Prix, hopefully we can get both cars across the line. That would be exceedingly helpful. Gustav Brunner we wanted to renegotiate with. Take a lot of extra money, how's that? Yeah. Thought that might change your mind. How much do you want? You're not getting as much as you think you're getting, I'll tell you that much. Let's check the news really quick. Sosumori Ara's moving to Jordan. Olivier Panis got the fastest lap. Not surprising, that Arrows looks pretty good this season. Robert Dassault on his way to Arrows potentially. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, so if the cars are repaired, and I believe they are, yep, then it is time. What to do here? I'm going to give Laureti more downforce. I'm going to give Nakano more speed. See how that helps. And obviously we have new stuff there. Can we actually develop another tyre? Yes, we can. So let's take the hards for Nakano. We'll get 2 fuel upgrades in one go. I'm glad we could do that, because otherwise we'd always be like a round behind and we wouldn't have the maximum benefit. Both drivers have the new specification servo brakes, well, anti-lock brakes. 31 degrees, very, very hot. Luckily our engine still is in the specification with lower reliability and power but excellent cooling, so hopefully we shouldn't have any more problems. Let's see what we can do. Well, that's better. Dario Laureti again takes pole position, 117.385. The deficit, though, to the cars behind is still very, very small, so it's not like we have a huge baked-in advantage. Johnny Newhouse and Ralf Schumacher put their Jordans P2 and P3 ahead of the Arrows of David Coulthard. Esteban Tyrrell sticks his Benetton P5, best qualifying so far for him and Benetton in a few seasons. Shinji Nakano lines up P6, which is an improvement of 3 on the last event. 27 degrees and light rain. That sucks because our intermediate tyre is arse. So I am going to have to stop our guys twice in both cases. It's another win though. This time Shinji Nakano brings it home at 145, 35917, but he has 5 out of 5 on his wet weather rating, so that's not surprising, and he lapped everyone up to Alexander Wurz in the Williams P3. Olivier Panis and Arrows continuing a very strong partnership, and as you can see, they weren't really that far behind over a race distance, less than a minute. I know that sounds like a big gap between P1 and P2, but in the 90s sometimes it wasn't. But yeah, we lapped everyone up to and including Wurz in P3. Johnny Newhouse, P4, 2 laps down in the Jordan. Rubens Barrichello, 2 laps down in the Sauber, but that's an amazing result for Sauber, who have been out of the points for years now. And Dario Laureti comes on P6, final points paying position, 2 laps down on his teammate though, not a good look. Shinji Nakano continues to lead the Drivers' Championship, although Newhouse and Panis joint P2 on 9 points apiece. And we continue to lead the Constructors with Arrows, our closest competitors, on 13 points. McLaren and Ferrari, who were right there in the fight last season, no points on the board yet. Sauber sit P5, 2 points. Remarkable. Let's do a quick sponsor check. Oh, excellent. We can already sign PlayStation. It's good news. And that means I can start talking to Shell. Any other news? Some progress on HSBC, some progress on Akai, and no progress on Korean Air yet. In terms of... Was that all we were talking to? Must have been. New power unit has arrived. Let's have a look at the news. Yep, we're happy. 2 cars in the top 6. Rob Armstrong has signed for Williams. He was talking to us on Sauber apparently, so we've lost out on him. And Ian Phillips has been taken from us and he's signed with Arrows. Dario Laureti has bought a seat at Williams. Robert Dassault signs for Arrows. And Sauber and Ferrari are chasing Olivier Panis, but if he's smart, he will not move to either of those teams. That would be my advice. Okay, so we've lost our commercial director. Let's see if we can't find another one. He looks like a good bet. Let's try that. I beg your pardon, that was a horrible sneeze. I tried to mute my microphone, but the mute button didn't work. Okay, so we might be suffering a little bit in the commercial department next season, but it is what it is. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're having an amazing week so far. It's still phenomenal to be back. Please, please, please take care of yourselves, and we'll talk again in a few days. Bye for now.